So in this video we're going to discuss why more volume is not better or not always better for muscle growth, and if you're running with a 6-day training split, I'd advise that you don't. For the longest period of time when I was a lot smaller, I would train 6 days a week and I'd do a lot of volume and I didn't really grow, if any at all. Like I did maybe a little bit, but like the method I'm going to speak to you about is a lot sharper and a lot smarter to achieve the goal. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name's Tom Sergi and I run the Gorilla Batu, which is an online physique transformation program where we get results like this each and every week. Now, so if more volume is not the answer, which in most cases of life, more volume is the answer. Like most other domains of life, more is better. But when it comes to actually training in the gym, the reason why more is not always better, like some people do 4 sets and then their only other means of progression can end up being more sets. What you'll tend to find is, and especially if you're in calorie deficit, you will end up burning through a lot of fuel and a lot of energy. But if we, and I'll draw the example out for you, if we were to say, here's the line to building muscle, this is where you are. Now you've got 2 ways to approach this. You can either do, and this is what most people do. If the line here is to build muscle, they'll train in and around this space here. They'll do a lot of effort in and around this space here. Sure, a little bit's up, but majority of it is in this space here. This takes effort. This is still hard. This burns a shit ton of glycogen, a shit ton of fuel, but you don't breach through enough to build new muscle because you're doing things you kind of could already do before. You're just doing a lot of it. And that is people's biggest problem. They do 4 sets of 10 and their first set is the same as their last set. And it means you're not pushing it with true intensity. If people do a lot, they don't train with intensity. Because you will never convince me otherwise that you're doing intensity and volume at the same time. There is a pivotal point. Unless you're like stacked full of gear, which I think all my audience are not, and I'm not, then that is simply not an option. And if you're in calorie deficit body recomposition, like all the boys here, it really is not an option to be doing 4 or even 3 sets, maybe 3 sets on a given exercise. So if that's not the approach, what is the approach then? The approach is to double down on intensity, but to do so, you're going to have to concentrate your efforts a lot more. Now, I'll give this as 2 examples. You've got unstable exercises and stable exercise. An unstable exercise would be a dumbbell press. A stable exercise would be a plate-loaded machine press. One has stability, the other doesn't. When you do your incline dumbbell press, you're going to want to do 2 sets, just 2 sets. One set that is 6 to 10 repetitions. Now this is all-out war. You will move as much weight as you fucking can on this set. And when you do that, you will breach through the barrier to entry of building muscle. And you will spend a good amount of effort and time and intensity in and above the line to grow new muscle. And you will know this because you beat whatever you did the time before. Now, from there, you're not going to be able to replicate the same again with the same amount of load because you've just gone to absolute failure with the heaviest load you could have possibly lifted on that movement. So what we need to do is not drop intensity, but we need to curve fatigue. So we're then going to do a back off set. In the back off set, it's going to be in the rep range of 12 to 15, and you are going to drop the load by minus 20%. So whatever you lifted, drop off the load by 20%, which won't be much. It really won't be much, boys. When you take it off, you're like, fucking hell, I've still got to do 12 reps on that, and it'll still be hard. It would be just as hard as this. It's the same but different. It's like the intensity's still there, volume's a little bit more, and that is enough to grow true muscle. Now, in the event that you're going to do a machine exercise, you have my blessing to do a second back off set to just accrue a little bit more volume. But you want both. The thing with most machine presses, they hit the muscle in the shortened position. I'm speaking about chest specifically in my analogy. To hit the muscle in the shortened position, most machines are designed that way. But dumbbells are the opposite. They'll hit the muscle in the lengthened position. So you're going to do a 6 to 10, 12 to 15, and then in your stable exercise, 6 to 10, and then 2 12 to 15s. And what you're doing is you're taking the same amount of effort you were going to do anyway. The amount of effort is not changing, but you're concentrating it into a top quality set that is going to be something you've never done before to give you a result you've never had yet. You understand where I'm coming from with this now. Whereas if you're always in the mindset of more, you can't train like that. And even if you can, and I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Let's say you can't recover from it. That's why a 6-day split doesn't really work. Because again, unless you're on the source, you're not going to recover from it. And if you can, you could train harder. So your best bet is intensity over everything. Don't ruin your form. I've spoken at length about form and how to do exercises. But if you're not training hard enough, if you're not doing something you've never done, you can't expect to grow new muscle. You just can't. So if you're in the space of volume, always adding more volume, it's not purposeful energy. You're just burning through glycogen. This is why when you watch people do those like weird circuit training classes, they never change fucking shape or size or anything like that because they're just getting hot and sweaty. The intensity of the load moved is not heavy enough to stimulate muscle growth, but the intensity is there to sweat and to make it feel like you've done something. That's how most of you are training. You're training like a fucking middle-aged woman doing legs, bums and tums and wondering why you're not growing any muscle. You have to get in that gym and move weight you've never done before. Some sets should be scary. When I go into a back squat, it's scary. The thing could implode on me, but that's how you know you're in the good space. That's how you know you're doing the right stuff. That you should be flat dumbbell pressing, thinking maybe this will rip my shoulders out the socket and I'll tear both my pecs. Obviously, build up to it so that doesn't happen and get your form in check so it doesn't happen. But you should be generally thinking, oh, fucking hell, this is going to be a very hard, arduous set. And when I come off it, probably going to have my brain is probably going to be bursting out of my head because I was driving that hard. You can't have that mindset if you've got 4 sets to do of the same rep ranges because you're trying to keep intensity for a long period of time. It's like saying, why can't you run the 100-meter sprint the same effort you can for the 400? You just can't. You just can't keep it up for long enough. They're 2 different races run with 2 different approaches. They have to be. And, it depends what you want and what you're trying to achieve. That's why I always program what I've just said to you there. That's why I believe you should do that. You don't have to. You can try your own way. But if it didn't work before, at least give my way a good go and come back to me with your feedback and comments. That'd be greatly appreciated. So that's my 2 cents on it. If you found it useful, great. If you didn't, shame on you. I'm only joking. But subscribe to the channel and I'll see you tomorrow.